Hello, hello, kitty cats, and welcome back to another episode of Tails and Tassels, the show where you learn about the lives of burlesque and nightlife performers, their craft, their cats, how the two worlds collide. I'm your host, Gemma Smith. By day, I work in animal welfare, and by night, I produce the Catbaret, New York City's cat-themed variety show. And today is another solo episode. We have one more expert guest interview next week, and then a final listener question episode the very last Thursday of March. So submit those listener questions if you have any feedback. Feel free, a question, feedback, email tailsandtasselspod@gmail.com. Today's solo episode is unscripted. I am just shooting the shit. I'm just talking about life lately, what's happening. I think this is episode, my goodness, 20. I was going to say 21. 20. And I have 22 episodes this season. So we're getting to the end of it. And my creativity, my time, I'm doing my best. I'm hanging on. So today I'm just going to give a little update on what's going on with me. Well, it's March here in New York City. We're getting ready here, especially for kitten season, that time of year. It's known as feline breeding season. Here in New York, it's about April through November when shelters are inundated with newborn homeless cats. And I am about to get busy with my day job. I don't talk too much about it because I keep my personal projects super separate. Catbaret, performing burlesque, this podcast. But I do work for a national nonprofit animal welfare organization here in New York City. I'm an administrative manager of the kitten nursery, but I also oversee a couple direct reports who are very involved with the foster program. And so I wear different hats at work and sometimes have to jump in and put kittens in a carrier to go to fosters, greet foster caregivers, order supplies, process invoices, throw a kitten shower, lots of different things. But I'm grateful to have a day job that really makes a positive impact in the lives of animals and shelter animals. And just noting that my life is about to get pretty busy as we have a lot of seasonal staff and new staff. And so I'm winding down this podcast of season 1 because I'm doing work with animals in real life and in my daily life. And so I do need a little bit of time to focus on that, to regroup, to make a plan for season 2 and to continue creating. And it's so funny. This episode's going to air before next week's episode with El Jong, an amazing photographer, videographer. I just actually interviewed him and he was sharing some really great nuggets. So you've got to stay tuned next week for all creatives. On managing his schedule and his time. And he brought up this really good reminder to me. There's a stat out there that's like 93% of podcasters never make it past episode 3 or episode 6 or something like that. So I remind myself that this is episode 20. I have been working very hard by myself on this podcast since July, learning all the software, learning all the directories, learning about metadata and SEO and things I really didn't know tons about. And if I ever feel that growth might be slow, I appreciate all of you listening. Let me tell you, there's some regulars and your kind words and feedback, and it means the world to me. But that tip that you'll hear in next week's episode really rejuvenated me and said, hey, I'm doing it. So that's one thing that's going on with me. What else? I'm in a show tomorrow. By the time this airs, it will be last weekend, Cat's Meow Comedy on the Upper West Side, hosted by Meg Cheezick. She was at the last Catbaret. She's a stand-up comedian. She's hilarious. She has a solo show, How to Give Up on Your Dreams. So follow her and Cat's Meow Comedy. They have shows regularly at West Side Comedy Club on the Upper West Side. They're usually Saturday brunch shows and they're variety shows. So you got to check that out. And it's not about cats, but she's a cat mom and it's a Cat's Meow. And I believe it's all female and non-binary performers. It's a really fun, funny show. So I'm going to do a burlesque act in that tomorrow as Gemma Stone. I know I always introduce myself as Gemma Smith on this podcast and also at the Catbaret, and that's really because I started producing the Catbaret in 2018, and I wasn't a burlesque performer then, and I just went by Gemma Smith. And also in my day job and with animal welfare, it all ties in, and so I really feel like I am Gemma Smith, but when I'm performing burlesque, especially in other people's shows, I love my stage name, Gemma Stone. It really worked when Lorna Doomed, my friend Lauren, aka Lorna Doomed, did the Glitter Sisters together. And I hosted as Gemma Stone, like gemstone, glittery. That name really worked for that. But yeah, sometimes I think about if folks are curious why I don't use my burlesque name in hosting a podcast that has to do with burlesque performers. And it's really because I feel as though for my SEO, for marketing, I'm also an actor, a voiceover actor, an on-camera host for all these things. To me, it just feels the most cohesive to host this as Gemma Smith. But I do want you all to know, I do have a burlesque name, Gemma Stone, very similar. A little secret, when I first started performing burlesque in 2019, New York School of Burlesque, I wanted to do a cat-themed name, which would be more on brand, right? You know, I'm not perfect, okay? But at the time, I did have a cat-themed name, which some people I know prefer. Tender Vittles. Apparently, this was a cat food, like in the 80s. So it was a little before my time. Yes, I was born in the 80s, but not a lot of people knew it or knew how to say it. Like someone introduced me as Tender Vitals. People didn't seem to know the name. So when we did Glitter Sisters, I changed it to feel more like in line with Glitter Sisters, and Gemma is already my name. That's a little bit of maybe a cop-out. Maybe I should have stayed Tender Vittles. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. I think it's too late to do another change, but I just thought that was a fun story and something that I think about. I lay awake at night sometimes thinking, oh, should I have been Gemma Stone on the podcast? But I think it's working out. It's working out fine. So here I go unscripted. This is totally non-scripted. I'm warmed up because I just interviewed someone. What else is going on with me? So I do have an agent for voiceover and on-camera commercial. I just got a new pop-up blue screen, have an audition I'm going to do today to be a mom, ages 35 to 45 for a commercial. So I've got to do that after this. That's something going on. Oh, my 5-year wedding anniversary is next week. So the week this episode will be out. I got married at City Hall to Alan on March 11th, 2020, right before COVID, right when COVID was coming here. We had a wedding planned for the fall, but we wanted to do it first at City Hall, and we didn't know that our real celebration was going to get pushed back a whole year. And thank God we got married when we did before the pandemic. And so that's coming up. Alan and I are going to go to a nice restaurant on our anniversary night. And then next weekend, do something fun in the city, like a fun day date, something, we don't normally do. We normally go to like burlesque shows or comedy shows or a jazz show. So something not like that, something different. I want to do a boat cruise around Manhattan, but I know the weather's not the best. Something different, something cool, something special. So that's also what's going on with me. Okay, well, let's also talk about Catbaret because that's coming up on April 24th, the spring show. Super excited, got a great lineup. Meow Box, this brand, donated 2 of their boxes to our raffle. I'm thinking about more merch. If anyone has ideas or feedback, I thought maybe temporary cat tattoos, maybe more pins or pasties. We could have a lot of fun, bringing different types of merch to the event. But mostly I'm just excited about hosting. And I've got a couple comedians, a vocal trio called the Randy Andys. Very excited about them. Oh, we know Bitsy Brule, and we heard about her and her beautiful beloved cat Screamy in a prior episode. Well, she'll be singing at the show. We've got, of course, a couple of burlesque acts. Allison Levy comedian. Really excited to have her at the show and just bringing together a group of cat lovers once again to celebrate spring kitten season. So I'm gearing up for that show. And then after that, I'm taking a bit of a break. Like I mentioned, kitten season is gearing up. And my day job and my life's about to get pretty hectic. And so I'm going to take a little pause and then we'll resume Meowloween in the fall and Meowie Christmas and Happy Haunted Cats in December. And I do want to share, because this is my Life Lately podcast, I'm turning 40 in June. Oh, I don't look 40? Oh, thank you. No, it's okay to look your age. If you're watching this on the video, I did get my hair cut. My hair's always bangs and a chin length bob. But I've been waiting till the year I turn 40 to change it up. Changed it up very slightly. It's a very 1920s or French bob. It's bangs and it's like it's like cheek length hair. And I'm actually really digging it, especially when I have like the right earrings and makeup. Sometimes I think it looks better than others. You know, if when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, dang, my hair is short. But I am loving it. And so I'm also going to the south of France. That's what I want to share with you. I'm going. I won't tell you when for safety purposes. I don't know. My husband and I, we're always paranoid if like we're on vacation. We don't like tell people we're on vacation. But at some point this spring and summer, I am going to Nice with my husband. And then we are meeting friends at a yoga retreat. Also in the south of France, we're going to do yoga. We're going to go on hikes. We're going to practice mindfulness. We're going to drink wine. We're going to enjoy the beautiful views and what it means to be alive and to be turning 40. It's been a thing for me. I'm sure I'm human, very similar to everyone else. Milestone birthdays, we reflect on where we've been and where we're going. I'm no different. So that's something I'm really looking forward to. I bought some new clothes to wear and we'll miss our cats. We have an amazing cat sitter who we trust. And, that's always the hardest part, bringing cats into it. Is this the hardest part for you? Like, I would travel more if I didn't get so anxious of leaving my cats. I love them. We have a cat sitter stay here with them. She knows how to give their medication and we have everything. So everyone's set up for success and she's fantastic. But I just, I love them so much. And sometimes I have a hard time leaving. Once I'm gone, it's fine. But get that anxiety before a trip, making sure the medication checklist is out and all the water bowls are strategically set and with clean water and everything's the way it should be. But the cats are doing well. Thanks for asking. Lion-O, I can see him. I'm in my voiceover booth closet, but the door is cracked and I see him on a little blanket on the couch. They don't make they don't make appearances on Tails and Tassels because they're the kinds of cats that don't really want to be picked up and held on my lap in the closet. Some cats really don't mind, and that's amazing. And I love when my guests have those cats and share them. But Lion-O and Luna just aren't really like that. And I really love them so much and respect their boundaries. So I don't want to disrespect their boundaries and pick them up when they don't want to be picked up. But I should put more shorts of them on the YouTube or on Instagram. I do on my personal. I have more things of them, but I should. I love them so much. So many ideas for content. I definitely don't make use of all of them, but they're very cute. And Luna's doing well. She does have asthma, and it's flared up a bit lately. And I'm not sure it's because we've had the windows open, but I've been making sure to get her inhaler. And she's got her annual exam coming up. So being a cat mom, these are all the things. So my cats are good. Turning 40 in June. I am upping my fitness journey, if anyone can relate. This is Tails and Tassels, but maybe this is also the child-free middle-aged lady podcast. It's okay if you have children and you're listening to this too. I'm glad. I just feel like if I had human children, I probably wouldn't have all the time to do all these things. But maybe I would. I definitely wouldn't have the time and money to go to personal training, which I've been doing since January. And I have to say, I am loving it and is the best decision that I made for myself. I love the quote, if nothing changes, nothing changes. And nothing was changing with my physical health. I do go to yoga, maybe weekly, every other week occasionally, but then I had this flare up of frozen shoulder. Have I talked about my frozen shoulder on the pod? Well, I've been in PT for several months and it is getting much better, but it's still a work in progress to put my arm behind my back. I can't do push-ups or do overhead lifting. But I really want to feel my best, have energy, and get stronger. I know we lose muscle mass and bone density as we age, and I have loved working out with Xtina for sure on Instagram, here in Bushwick. Started once a week, strength training. I find such joy in increasing my weight and reps. We are doing squats. We are doing lunges. We are doing RDLs. We are doing flies and rows and core work. And I really like it. And now I've started her classes at Diamond Heart Grappling Studio. And it's a mix of like high intensity interval training kind of stuff, endurance and strength. And I think my muscles are coming in. I don't know. I'm showing on the I'm a mid-size curvy gal. And I love myself and I love my body as it is. And I want to feel my best. And I'm not mad at getting some muscles. So it's been really fun. I've been gaining strength. And also as an extrovert, it's kind of nice getting out in the morning and having an appointment to go to, especially if the rest of the day I'm working remotely or something. I notice I have a really good rest of the day. I feel good about myself that I did something positive, that I was out talking to people. It feels like there's a sense of community there, which I said I want more community in my life. So this is a change that I've made in my life that I feel like is going to continue to be really positive. So yeah, that's something else going on with me. I think these are all the things going on with me. Only other thing that I might love your feedback on, listeners, because I like feedback from folks. This is a different niche, though, so I hope you're still here with me. It's still burlesque. So last year, I produced a show, Reality's Burlesque. It's a burlesque show based off your favorite reality TV. I did a Vanderpump Rules show. I may have mentioned this on the pod. I was in Books and Burlesque at Caveat, produced by Fortune Cookie, and I got this great book about the history of reality TV. So I created a bachelorette act, and I want to use that act again, okay? I spent a lot of money on that costume. I really like the act. It would be great in a realities show. What if it was a summer love reality romance edition? What if it was this summer here in New York City, maybe July? I kind of got some feelers out to a couple performers I think would be good for it, but I just haven't pulled the trigger in setting a date. I'm considering a couple venues, so I would love your feedback. Any reality or TV romance shows or romance aspects of reality TV that you would love to see in realities. Any certain venues you think are best here in New York. If you're not in New York, it's okay. Feel free to let me know what you think. If you don't like reality TV, no worries. You don't have to come. Just keep coming to the Catbaret. So these are just the things stirring around in my mind and my life. I'm looking forward to springtime. Kitten season will be hectic for shelters and folks across the country. So a plug that if you are interested in fostering kittens or donating supplies or resources or time to your local shelter, it means a lot. Fostering one animal can help a shelter take in more animals and care for them. So it really does save lives. So just putting a plug out there for fostering, adopting, volunteering. It's always a good thing to do. And someone who works at a shelter, we appreciate you so much. So many amazing people really donate their summer to raising kittens. And it is joyful, but it's also hard work. And so we really value all of our volunteers and fosters. And I think that's it. That's my life lately. I rambled for 20 minutes. This is an experiment. We'll see how this does when it drops on Thursday. I still feel a bit vulnerable in these solo episodes. I overthink having things out there that are so personal, but I think I'm pretty open on social media, and I don't think I shared anything too open. Perhaps mundane and boring for some of you. But if you've listened to all 20 episodes of the podcast, then you must be enjoying it, I hope. Thank you again for being here. And one last plea, if you like this podcast, if there's a certain interview that you found really fascinating, it would mean so much to me if you sent it to a friend who you think would enjoy it. Also, if you haven't taken a moment to rate or review the podcast, I would really appreciate it, whether on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. It really helps independent podcast growth, and it would honestly make my day. So thank you. And that's a wrap for this episode of Tails and Tassels. Tune in next week for an interview with our final expert guest of Season 1, El Jong. Join our community on Instagram at Tails and Tassels Pod. That's it for this episode. Take care, and until next time, kitty cats.